You're listening to the One Man Show Network. Welcome to the MMA Fight Picks Podcast with your host, Aaron Weinbaum.
Hey everyone, welcome to the MMA Fight Picks Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Weinbaum. We're going to pick fights for the, I guess it'd be like the 10th or 11th event now at the UFC Apex. So if you're on Periscope, that's the only platform I'm streaming from today. Feel free to help me pick fights, chime in, make a comment, whatever. Actually, I need to make sure that's enabled. All right, it looks like it is. So feel free to say hi. I'll get you on the podcast later on the YouTube video. So, so this takes place this Saturday at the Apex. Again, Pedro Munhoz, Frankie Edgar. We'll talk more about that when I pick the fight, but kind of an amazing main event. Not so much an amazing card, but I am grateful that the UFC is still putting on fights in the midst of a pandemic, because it looks like all hell's going to break loose again, and there's not going to be a whole lot to do. So like I said, if you're on the Periscope, I see there's several of you watching. Feel free to say hi, pick a fight, whatever. But first off, let's talk about UFC 252. DC versus Stipe. DC subsequently retires. And I hear a lot of people talking smack like he shouldn't be a heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight. I mean, bull. He won every heavyweight fight except for two. And that was, twice to the greatest. Probably to do it is Stipe. And why is he the greatest? I mean, he's fought the best of the best. He's defended that belt 4 times now. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. And to diminish DC's career and say he's not a heavyweight, it's kind of crazy. And, he, like many have said, not have had the most perfect career, but gosh dang, he won the light heavyweight belt. He won the heavyweight belt. He won the Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix when he wasn't even he was an alternate. Nobody even heard of this guy. And he's a high school wrestling coach. And, he gives a lot to his community. I mean, you can go on and on about the guy. So happy retirement, DC. I'm not one of those guys that wants to see him come back for a super fight. Especially, he got his cornea poked. It was kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yeah, best of luck to you, DC, in your retirement. And I'm one of those guys that, hopes it kind of stays that way. A little parched here, or I'm about ready to cough or something. I don't know. Sorry about that. I feel like I should be wearing a mask talking into this, but it is what it is. We're talking about Damn Danny, number 1, says that John Bones Jones is stealing DC's shine. Well, we can talk about that. So, excuse me. John Jones now talking about moving to heavyweight. Actually, he's apparently vacated the light heavyweight belt, and he's challenging for heavyweight. Now, I hope he doesn't skip over Francis Ngannou, but, I'd sure like to see him not go to the title right away. I'd like to see him, go maybe to a Rosenstreich or Curtis Blades, maybe, to see if he's worthy of the title right away. But Ngannou, that's his spot, man. And, yeah, he is stealing a little bit of the shine. It doesn't wait like a half a day before DC's retirement. I guess it has been 2 days. Today's Monday. But, all of a sudden, we're talking John Jones at light or heavyweight, in light heavyweight. Now they're talking about Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes to go for that vacated title, which I'm all into. But what about poor Thiago Santos? Let's not forget, I think it should be Santos and Reyes, honestly, because Jan Blachowicz has not even fought John Jones, and the other guys were super close. Oh, John Bones Jones versus Derek Lewis. I like that too. Yeah, that'd be interesting, man. Bones and Lewis. Why not, man? Why not? And then let's talk a little bit about Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. I did pick Sean O'Malley to win. I was super, super wrong about that. But Chito Vera's a tough dude. That was a tough test for O'Malley. Not sure what happened to his foot. I think it's some ligament damage. It's not broken. But, I think he'll learn from this. He's a young guy, and Chito Vera's been around a while. Chito Vera is tough. I mean, super tough. So, it is what it is there. But I think O'Malley is probably a future champion. I don't know, 135 or 145. He's a young guy. He's going to grow in his body or whatever. And what in the world is next for Junior Dos Santos? I thought the KG veteran would win that fight. I thought just because, both those guys were knocked out recently by Francis Ngannou. I thought JDS is a veteran. He'll come back for that better. But Rosenstreich, man, the guy's better than I think he is every time, except for the Ngannou fight. And part of what muddled that for me was Overeem was beating him pillar to post until he got nailed that last round, like the last few seconds of the last round. So it kind of is what it is. But I don't know about you. I'm ready to pick some fights for this week. I'm just picking the main card because I don't know a lot of these fighters, and so if you are on Periscope, I do see several of you here. Feel free to help me pick. I'll add you into the broadcast and whatnot. But first of all, Takashi Sato and Daniel Rodriguez. Now, the thing about this is I feel like a lot of the people on the event are either fighting for a Twitter checkmark or a Wikipedia page. So it's a little interesting there. But first of all, Takashi Sato, let's look at him first. He just beat Jason Witt. He has a loss to Bilal Muhammad. Lots of people do. And I forgot to say this fight is contested at welterweight, by the way. Win over Ben Saunders, Matt Valley. Let's look at D-Rod here. That's his nickname, Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez here. Lots of wins here. He has fought in the UFC twice now. Win over Gabriel Green, Tim Means. So he's no joke. Before that, a bunch of guys I never heard of from like Smash Global and Dana White Contender Series and Combate. So lots of fights in Combate actually. But Sato, I mean, that win over Tim Means. I know Tim Means isn't what he once was, but I got to say that means just a little bit more. And yeah, I'm gonna go with D-Rod here. D. Rodriguez. All right. Next up, Mike Rodriguez versus Marcin Praccino. I help me out here. So Mike Rodriguez, first of all, just lost to Da Un Jong. Had a no contest against John Allen. It was overturned because it was originally for Allen, but overturned because he tested positive for something. So it was really his last real win was Adam Milstead back in December 2018. Has a loss to Devin Clark as well. Let's look at Marcin here. 2 losses in a row. Magomed Ankalaev, Sam. Oh, we did have a loss to Sam Alvey, but that's, lots of people do that. I need to mention that this fight is at light heavyweight, by the way. Better make sure I'm correct. Yeah, light heavyweight. Gosh, this is tough to fight because, this is one of those deals where I don't really know the guys very well. And all of a sudden I got something flying across my screen here. Interesting. But gosh, I got to go with probably Marcin here. He's fought some stiffer competition for sure. And, yeah, Marcin. All right, here we go. Ovin St. Pierre, Alonzo Menafield. Alonzo Menafield taking this fight on short notice. Let's take a look at OSP. I think, I wish OSP would have stayed at heavyweight. He had a split decision loss to Ben Rothwell. I didn't think he did bad, but here's the thing, when these guys go up in weight, and this doesn't happen for everyone, but especially light heavyweight to heavyweight or middleweight to light heavyweight, that you guys don't realize how big these guys are and how much they weigh on you and lean on you and this and that. I don't think OSP quite understood, he was 240 something. Ben Rothwell was all 265. You don't understand what kind of wear and tear that is on a guy. And, it was still a split decision. I thought he did well, but to abandon that and go back to light heavyweight, I don't like it. I wish he would have stayed at heavyweight. Even Ben Rothwell was like, oh, this guy's a heavyweight. You need to stay heavyweight. And he didn't. And I do wish I would at least seen another fight at him at heavyweight before going back to light heavyweight. That being said, before he's had not a great run lately at light heavyweight. He beat Michelle Oleksiejczuk, I don't know how to say it, but a loss to Nikita Krylov, a loss to Dominic Reyes. His last win at light heavyweight before that was 2018 against Tyson Pedro. He got choked out by Ilir Latifi. I mean, I wish he would have made a run at heavyweight. I really, really do. In case I didn't say that before. Now let's take a look at short notice Alonzo Metafield here. He did just lose Devin Clark. Before that, it's all wins. Paul Craig, Vincius Maria, Deshaun Boatwright. I know this was a Dana White Contender Series fight, but lots of fights at LFA. I guess he did two wins at Dana White's Contender Series. So, man, this is tough, but I don't like OSP at light heavyweight, but Alonzo is taking the short notice, so I am going to pick OSP to win this fight. But like I said, I want him to go back to heavyweight. I do. All right, last fight of the evening. If you are on Periscope, you can help me pick this as well, or say hi, or say you hate me, whatever you want. Pedro Munhoz against Frankie Edgar. Why is this special? This is Frankie Edgar's first fight at 135 pounds. I'm super excited about this. This is a rescheduled fight because Pedro Munhoz tested positive for COVID or whatever. Pedro hasn't fought since June, over a year, so June of last year against Aljamain Sterling. It was a decision. Before that, he's got wins over. He knocks out Cody Garbrandt, knocks out Brian Caraway. Gosh dang. Decision over Brett Johns. Lost to John Dotson. Lots of people do. It was a split decision. Wins over Rob Font, Damian Stasiak, Justin Scoggins, Russell Doan. Okay. Kind of an impressive record, honestly. And then you got Frankie. It's his first time at 135 pounds. You can't count out Frankie, but he's been in a lot of wars, man. A lot of wars. All the way up to 155 pounds, like the Gray Maynard fight, Benson Henderson fights. I mean, let's take a look here. He did get knocked out by the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung Jung, and let's not forget the short notice fight. Now I realize it's a short notice fight, 145 pounds. But he was on his way down to 135 pounds. I don't like that fight, and he kind of had to come back up. The Korean Zombie's a big dude. All right, he did go all the way with Max Holloway, only to lose a decision. He beat the brakes off of Cub Swanson in a unanimous decision. Got knocked out by Brian Ortega, but he beats Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens. Man, I don't know. This is tough. This is really tough. Feel free to weigh in, but I don't know who to pick for this fight. I really don't. But I got to make a decision. I'm a big boy, and this is a big boy job, and this is what I do. So I'm going Pedro Munhoz. I'm sorry, Frankie Edgar. I love you, man. Pedro Munhoz has had the stiffer competition, 135 pounds. And I don't like Frankie's chin. I don't like the way he got knocked out by the Korean Zombie. And he wasn't even cutting weight, and he got knocked out that badly. So Pedro Munhoz, main event. And that's it. So if no one else has anything to say, until next time, this is Aaron Weinman from the MMA Fight Picks Podcast. Shalom.
Please remember to support the podcast by visiting the affiliate links on AaronSaysWhat.com.